Let's take a minute now and talk about how to begin speaking the truth in love with your family. Hopefully by now you're beginning to see that as a Christian, you really can change the world with your words. That's how God designed it to work. It's called speaking the truth in love. Now, for many of us, the first and most important place that we can begin to do this is in our homes, with our families, our spouses, and our kids. Look at Deuteronomy chapter 6. Starting in verse 5, it says, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today." Verse 7, it says, "Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your homes and on your gates." And here's why God wants us to talk about these with our families, why He wants us to repeat them again and again with our children. Look at verse 24. "The Lord our God commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear Him." Why? "So He can continue to bless us and preserve our lives." See, God wants us to talk about His truth with our families so that it will go well for us. Now, at PursueGOD.org, we're committed to helping you speak biblical truth in love with your family, to help you start conversations that matter. So we want to take a minute now and show you in a very practical way how easy it is to start doing this with your family. The first thing that you'll notice when you get to PursueGOD.org is that there are a ton of resources. So if you're not familiar with the site yet, we suggest you take some time and look around and get a little bit more familiar with it. If we scroll down a little bit, you'll notice there are three main categories. There are the video categories, the devotional series, and then on the right is the sermon link series. Now, if your church is part of the Pursue God network, you should have a sermon link button on the homepage of your church's website. But if not, you can always access it directly from PursueGOD.org. Now, this is the one that I use the most with my family and the one I want to show you today. If I click on this week, it will take me to a sermon link page where I can choose this week's playlist, or I can look at the archives from previous weeks. So I'm going to choose this week's playlist. And when I do, notice that it takes me directly to Pursue God's YouTube page. From there, I have everything that I need to begin speaking truth in love to my family this week. The first thing you'll see is a full-length sermon, followed by a sermon recap. Now, those are going to give a good understanding of the truth or the topic or the principle that's shared this week. In this case, Barnabas and generosity. But then here's where it gets exciting. The rest of the videos in this playlist are 2 to 3 minute videos specifically designed to help you apply biblical truth in a way that's relevant for you and the people in your life. You can choose the application videos that are right for you and your situation. So if we look down the side here, we see that there are application videos for all, that is everyone, specifically for couples, for parents, for kids, and for youth. Now, I'm the parent of a 5-year-old and a 12-year-old, but I'm also a husband. So here's how I'm going to use the playlist this week. I've already listened to the sermon. So what I want to do is sometime early in the week, I want to sit down with my wife, and we're going to watch the sermon recap so that together we remember the main points from the sermon, the passages, the principles that were talked about. Then we want to spend a few minutes and talk about those. Then we're going to watch the couples video about being generous towards your spouse. But we also want to watch the parent video about being givers if we want our kids to be givers. So we're going to do that, and we're going to spend some time, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, just watching those and then following up with the notes and the questions that are attached to those videos. Then, sometime later in the week, one or both of us will be intentional about sitting down with our 12-year-old and watching the video specifically designed for youth. We'll talk about it with our daughter, we'll look at the notes and ask the questions, and we'll have a great dialogue about what it means to be generous as a teen. Finally, we'll do the same with our 5-year-old. One or both of us will sit down and watch the video designed specifically for kids. You'll notice when I click on the kids video, it automatically opens and starts playing. It's specifically designed for elementary age kids. One principle, one verse, one practical application, and then age-appropriate questions. Notice if I click on the notes link below that it opens in a separate page, and there are my notes, my outline, the verses, the main points, and again, the age-appropriate questions. And that's it. It's just that easy to begin speaking truth in love with your family. For us, it's been amazing because now we're all on the same page as a family and we're having conversations that matter. Take a minute now and talk about these questions with your family.